Does your heady hurt? Do your temples pound? Is your throat dry? Does your tongue feel like a sponge that's been left out in 100-degree heat too long? That's called a hangover.
Too much.
That's called a hangover. That's what we're here for here Saturday morning, June the 3rd, 2023, Sports Frenzy 2.0, the weekend edition.
Hydration.
Pedialyte.
And a night out. Have
Hair
a
of the
little
dog.
bit of glass of water for every few beers.
He's the conquistador, Dave Height.
He's the maestro, Kevin Crane.
As always, glad to have you aboard for the weekend edition.
Listen to us. We know of which we speak.
Yes, we have lived it. We have learned from it, and we loved it when we were young enough to actually enjoy it and bounce back from it in 3 hours as opposed to 3 days now. All right, it is time to get you ready for the weekend. No, it's not a 3-day weekend like last weekend, which was so glorious, but you got 2 days off. We are going to tell you what to listen to, what to watch or not to watch on TV and streaming and movies, what to read or not to read. But of course, first and foremost, as always, is rock and roll.
Our bread and butter for the weekend edition.
1 album, 4 songs. Let's get into it. The brand new album from Rob Thomas and Company, Matchbox 20, Where the Light Goes. Their first album in 10 years.
Yep, 12 songs in this one. Kicks off with Friends.
The worst song by far on the album. A piece of absolute garbage.
Yeah.
You could not pick a worse. We have talked about the fact of the albums we've reviewed this year, how they've fallen into a pattern, but at least we have said the first 2 or 3 songs are the best or the more the solid songs on the album.
The first song should be your strongest song, which hooks you into the rest of the album. This one sets the tone of abject futility.
Here's what I didn't like about Friends. And they are not the only ones. Matchbox 20 are not the only ones to fall into this trap. Godsmack did this on the album before last. Why do we have to have the kids singing in the background?
Thank you.
What does that add to the song for a rock and roll band?
Absolutely nothing.
And I've got another point to make about another misstep that these idiots are making. Not just Matchbox 20, but again, we'll talk about the Foo Fighters. We can bring in Def Leppard. But number one, kids' choruses do not work in rock songs. Period. End of story. So saith the maestro. Friends sucks balls. It's not a rock song. I don't know what it is.
It's an abomination.
But at the end of this review, I have the key as to why this album is disappointing.
Yeah, well, it doesn't get much better with Wild Dogs.
We reviewed that. We liked that.
It was okay.
Wild Dogs was okay.
It was okay.
Now, then you get into Rebels and One Hit Love and
One Hit
Blood.
Love was a disaster. I liked Friends more than One Hit Love.
You're right. There are songs coming up that I hated more than Friends. You're right. Now, I think track 6, Queen of New York City, is where you start to at least hear for a brief moment.
You've got
the old Matchbox 20.
20 is starting
right
to rear back up.
Yeah.
I think Queen of New York City I enjoy.
Yes.
It's one of the strongest songs on the album.
I agree. And then the title track, track 7, is pretty good too. Not great, but pretty good.
No, it's pretty good.
And then
they let you down.
Hang on Every Word, track 8. Then you get, we reviewed this song as well. The strongest song by far on the album is track 9, the second single, Don't Get Me Wrong.
By far the best song on the album.
Now, I like track 10 because Kyle Cook, the guitarist takes over on vocals and wrote the song. So if you're going to throw a curveball out there, I like this.
This was
had
better
a little bit
than
of
a
a
lot of
darker
what's there.
tone, a little bit cynical, a little bit arrogant,
Yeah.
basically telling his significant other, you might think you're right, but I know better.
As we all do.
Yes. And then this is the worst song on the album. This is the worst song. I'm sorry. Friends, at least, is a little bit upbeat and peppy.
Yeah, but No Other Love. Oh my freaking God. What were you thinking? Lyrics, musically, it's just bad.
Now, here's my second criticism that goes beyond just Matchbox 20. First was with song 1, Friends had the kids chorus.
Here you have your
female lead singer coming in
to
to share vocals with the star. In this case, Rob Thomas. You don't need to bring in why do you have to do a duet with a woman?
You don't.
Or why does a woman have to do a duet with a man? You are the star. We're buying the music. We're listening to the music to hear you sing.
The only time you do that is for a movie soundtrack.
Yeah,
That's it. That's it.
I don't understand, and we're going to get to this again later here. I don't understand why you can't just shine as the superstar that you are, Rob Thomas. Why did you have to share the spotlight with a female vocalist, a generic female vocalist?
At that.
It's not like we're going back to the 70s with Barbara Streisand doing duets, which I'll get to later. Then finally, the last song on the album, Selling Faith, sounds like old school, cynical Matchbox 20.
Yeah, but it was a sweet, merciful end.
Yeah, now it's acoustic, so it doesn't have any of the pepper, the juice that a song like Long Day would have.
Yeah.
But it's still, the lyrics are solid. It rings true in this day and age. If you're selling faith, I'm buying right now.
Yeah.
But it should not be one of the top 2 or 3 songs on the album.
No, that's...
But as I said,
you found the key.
Here we go, kids. My analysis, my breakdown as to why Matchbox 20's Where the Light Goes is subpar. I happened to pull out their greatest hits the other day. Exile on Mainstream, which has 1 disc of new stuff, 1 disc of the greatest hits, 11 songs.
Yeah.
Going all the way back to 3 a.m. and Push and Long Day, all the songs that we love.
All the good stuff.
Every single one of those 11 songs written by Rob Thomas. Only Rob Thomas. Rob Thomas wrote every single one of the big hits that we know and love from Matchbox 20. I give you evidence!
Which ones did he write alone? Did we highlight them, perhaps?
I can pretty much guarantee, and I had to look this up after listening to the album a couple times. I said, there's something wrong here. I said, there is something amiss in Matchbox 20 land, and I have to dig in and find out what it is. Guess who wrote the song Friends, Dave? It wasn't Rob Thomas. It was the drummer, Paul Doucette, who from here on out will be known as Paul Douchette. Because I don't know if Rob Thomas is the nicest guy in the world or what, but he handed over songwriting duties on half the songs to the drummer.
Why they're crap.
Paul Doucette wrote Friends. Paul Doucette wrote Warm Blood. Paul Doucette wrote Hang On Every Word. Paul Doucette wrote that garbage No Other Love.
Ugh.
Meanwhile, Rob Thomas wrote Queen of New York City, Where the Light Goes, Selling Faith at the end. Now, he had some help from other guys with Don't Get Me Wrong.
But still, he was key on that one.
Right. But he gave up songwriting duties on pretty much half the goddamn album to Paul Doucette, the drummer.
Who has no business writing songs.
And again, I don't know if this is Rob Thomas trying to be the nice guy, trying to keep the band together, saying, they're giving him a hard time, saying, you're a big Mr. Hotshot Superstar.
We've got ideas.
There's a reason why he's Mr. Big Shot Superstar.
He knows what the hell he's doing.
He wrote all your biggest hits by himself. Why would you take that away? Why would you rip that away from the heart of the band?
Why are you tearing up your meal ticket?
Literally, this Paul Doucette wrote all the bad songs on the album that were ripping to shreds. And Rob Thomas wrote most of the good stuff. Or the tolerable stuff. This could have been a much better album if you just let Rob Thomas, one of the better songwriters of the last 2 decades, do his thing. What the hell are you thinking?
Why are you messing with success?
This is like Simon and Garfunkel. Art Garfunkel going, let me write the majority of the album, Paul. I don't know if you're really in the groove right now.
I've got ideas.
Oh my God! I mean, that's it. That's the glaring weakness. That's the glaring problem with Where the Light Goes. Is Rob Thomas wasn't allowed for some reason.
The whole thing.
So again, like last week, with my review of Dave Matthews Band, but for different reasons, very, 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 very weak 2 Frenzies.
I completely agree. This was so disappointing. I was so looking forward to this one.
And again, this is not shaping up to be the great summer of music.
No,
and
it's not.
We've got some stuff coming up where it makes it even a little bit more cautious as we move into June and July.
Yeah.
Let's do some positive. Relatively positive.
Relatively positive.
You go ahead and pick one. Pick your favorite of the 4 songs this week, and we'll see if we agree.
My favorite of this week is going to be the title from Aaron Jones.
I agree. But now I'm not going to go out and say it's a great song.
It's not. It's just the best of what we have.
It's solid.
It is
very solid song. Basically a rock and roll, hard rock, boxing analogy.
Yep. It's like, I'm the up and coming. I'm coming for you. It's my time.
Yep.
Yours is done.
So a little bit of that rap, braggadocious.
Yeah, a little bit with a nice rock edge, something you like to have in there.
Yeah,
a good solid outing.
I give it a strong 2.5 Frenzies.
I went with a weak 3.
Okay. My next favorite, let me go. Let me see if you agree. We'll do tit and tat.
There we go.
As they do in the Chicken Ranch in Las Vegas. Yeah, I've been
talking tit to tit.
Yeah, I've been talking a lot about the Chicken Ranch this week. That's not a good sign. I will actually go with Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, If You're Blue.
No.
Now, I'm not saying, again, I gave Aaron Jones 2.5, so I'm not going higher than that.
Yeah.
I thought they had a good enough hook and guitar work on it to merit a weak 2.5.
I wouldn't even go that high.
Wow.
It felt like a generic George Thorogood song.
Okay.
And Joan's vocals were...
I will agree with you on that.
They were
Her voice sounds weak.
It sounds bad.
But again, I thought it was catchy enough.
It was catchy. Lukewarm 2.5.
Okay.
I'm stretching to try for a 2.5.
All right, now we got the big guns. We got the big guns. Let's go ahead and get Greta Van Fleet out of the way, please.
Sacred the Thread.
Now, number one.
It was better than Meet the Master. But, I mean, come on.
If you say so.
You're ripping off the drum intro.
Where the Levee Breaks. Yes!
You are completely ripping off the drums from Where the Levee Breaks.
When the levee breaks, the 20-second intro to this song is literally 100% stolen from Led Zeppelin's When the Levee Breaks. And that is my favorite. I know it's not their song. I know it's a remake.
Yeah.
But that is my favorite Led Zeppelin song. Do you not think I'm going to pick up on that?
I mean,
I was waiting for the harmonica. I was waiting for the harmonica to
I
kick
know.
in.
So was I. I mean, as my youngest Nick says, Greta Van Fleet is discount Led Zeppelin.
Jesus Christ, they are like Ollie's Led Zeppelin right now.
I know. They have fallen so far down.
I don't know if I can, it's not a big disagreement, but I don't know if I can say this song is better than Meeting the Master.
I liked it a little bit better. I hate Meet the Master. Or Meeting the Master, or whatever the hell it is.
The Masturbate.
Yeah. This one I liked a little bit better.
But it's still not good.
It's still not good.
God, I give this, I'm sorry. I found nothing redeeming about this. I give it a 1. This is a 1 frenzy for me. This is how far this band has fallen in my eyes.
For Meet the Master. I went 1.5 on this one.
I just can't stand where they're going as a band.
They
are
abysmal.
So dull.
Yeah.
And the fact they blatantly rip off Led Zeppelin to this point.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the song is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the review of their new album.
Are we even going to bother?
I might slit my wrist by that point. Considering what's coming up next.
Oh my God, the Foo Fighters, the 3rd song.
Next week, we're going to be reviewing the full album.
God, do we have to?
But here we are, is the full album. That will be out, and we will have that for you next week. But
show me how. Tell me why I should continue to listen.
Oh my God, was this awful. Oh my God. And again, this goes back to what I was talking about earlier with Matchbox 20, with Def Leppard, and the songs they had on Diamond Star Halos, and that abysmal remake of Pour Some Sugar on Me. Why do you have to bring in a nondescript female to sing vocals with Dave Grohl?
There's no reason. There's no point.
This is the worst Foo Fighters song, arguably, I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
I hated this song. And I get it. It's a rumination about, obviously, the loss of Taylor Hawkins.
Yeah, but come on. Where is the Foo stamp? This is not Foo Fighters.
And I'm telling you.
This is not Dave Grohl.
I am telling you.
This is crap.
I am telling you, this is 3 songs in now. Taylor Hawkins meant more to this band than we thought he did.
It's obvious.
He was somehow pushing Dave Grohl to be better, because I have not been impressed that much with any of the 3 songs.
No.
Rescued sounded like rehashed, recycled old Foo Fighters. Under You was better.
Under You was a step up, but still not there.
Right.
And then
normally that would be the 6th or 7th best song on a Foo Fighters album. Right. And now this travesty.
This shouldn't have even been recorded.
And you want to know the worst part? The worst part of all this?
You listened to it 3 times?
As a responsible reviewer, I did. No. Ultimate Classic Rock got an early copy and reviewed it already. The album?
Yeah.
They said the entire second half of the album is like this.
Oh, God help us.
The first half is more what we heard with Rescued and Under You. The second half is this downbeat crap like this.
Oh, God,
this is going to end up being by far, I guarantee,
probably the most disappointing album we've ever reviewed.
Well, from given the high standards,
the high standards that have been set
for the Foo, and it's just going to end up continuing to be the summer of music disappointment. Thank God, we've heard 4 songs from Rival Sons
that have been good.
from Dark Fighter, so I have faith that Dark Fighter will be good next week. I have faith in that album. They're still hungry. They're still fighting. Even though they've been around for over a decade.
They're finally getting their just reward.
They need to get the headliner status.
Yes.
We need to push them to headliner status. Because all these bands are disappointing us. Jesus God, they're disappointing us. All they do is rest on their laurels, care more about politics.
Yeah. Shut up, write great music, and entertain us. That's what we want.
So Dave and I agree that the best in music this week was Aaron Jones' The Title, but it's still not up there where, any of these songs should be.
Right.
We're talking about big names in rock and roll, big heavyweight names. Disappointment. I'm getting sick of it.
The theme of this year, kinda.
I know, that's what's depressing me. Now, next week, we've mentioned Rival Sons, Dark Fighter, double album review.
Yes.
Along with Foo Fighters, but here we are. 2 new songs. Extreme, the 4th release of their upcoming album. 6 is Other Side of the Rainbow, and the new Queens of the Stone Age single is Carnivore. God.
Please.
And
give us something
I am going to
good.
even turn a positive into a negative. God knows I never do that. I'm looking forward to Extreme. We're going to see him in concert. The comeback of the year. It should be. New album is coming out in 2 weeks.
Yep.
They want $18 for the CD.
What?
$18 fucking dollars for the CD.
That's ridiculous.
That's unbelievable. That's highway robbery.
Come on.
That really disappoints me when it comes to Gary Sharon, Nuno Bettencourt, and the boys. $18, and it has not dropped since they announced the release. That price has not moved.
It will when
I will
nobody's
not buy it for $18. I do not buy anything over $15 when it comes to a CD. No. I'll buy the digital and burn a copy.
There you go.
$18 for it.
Come on. Maybe for a double.
Right. I paid $19 for that triple CD piece of crap. Autumn, which we'll probably end up reviewing disc 2 and 3 from at some point when things slow down. But oh my God!
Come on!
Step it up, people! Step it up! The Rival Sons right now are my last best chance. I mean, Extreme has sounded good too. But again, $18?
No, not for that.
Dark Fighter, $12.
There you go. Reasonable.
Yes. Even the Foo Fighters, $13.99. I can live with that. $18 for the new Extreme single album.
No.
Single disc album.
No.
Bullshit on toast. All right, that will do it for music. I will try to calm down, mellow out a little bit. But we're not technically done with music yet.
Technically, no.
Because next up is our movie review segment. And because, again, of the awful choices out there, I decided to watch HBO Max's, Max, their new documentary concerning the Queen of Disco, Donna Summer. So I'm not done talking about music yet.
Nope.
I'm not done talking about crap yet. Jesus God! Please! Give me something positive!
Story time's coming up.
I have an addendum storyline, which we all knew was coming after last week. But we'll get to it. Movies coming up next. Here on the weekend edition with your Uncle Kev and your Uncle Dave. We'll be right back. Stuck in a no-win situation? Wife being held captive while your feet bleed? Take a second to decompress. Pull out your smartphone and listen to Sports Frenzy 2.0 on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, and Castbox. And don't forget to check out their Facebook page. The Maestro and the Conquistador will take your mind off your dire predicament and give you the best non-PC sports commentary you'll find anywhere. And once you compose your exit strategy and take down some German terrorists, you'll want to yell, "Yippee-ki-yay, Sports Frenzy 2.0!
All right, kids, welcome back to segment 2 of the weekend edition of Sports Frenzy 2.0. I'm the Conquistador, Dave Height.
And I am the Maestro, Kevin Crane.
Here we are getting ready to talk movies, here recording May 31st, 2023, dropping June 3rd, Saturday morning, your hangover cure on Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Amazon, Audible, iHeartRadio. New platform for you, kids. Apple, Overcast, Castbox, and Stitcher!
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we have to acknowledge the fact that, yes, we have got another new platform for you, kids, so you do have options. iHeartRadio has jumped on board with us, so very happy about that. Now, this is going to be kind of an odd movie segment. I have a documentary review from Max. I have an addendum story time to last week's story time from your Uncle Dave. And he has got a new story time.
Because that tells you the lack of quality films that we have any interest in seeing right now. So, let us begin with my story time from this past Memorial Day weekend. Had a little get together with the neighbors, and we wound up last year getting one of those inflatable outdoor screens and projector. And so we've done a couple movies, as I've reviewed last year. So we had our first one of the year to kick off, and we went back to the 80s with John Lithgow in the family adventure Harry and the Hendersons. So Lithgow and his family are out camping. He's teaching his young son how to hunt. And they're coming back, and lo and behold, through the fog, they hit Bigfoot. Think they killed him. They didn't. They think, all right, let's take him back. We can make some money off this thing. Only Bigfoot's not dead. And worms his way into the hearts of the whole family. You've got an old hunter who's trying to take him out. They're trying to save him. It's just a feel-good movie overall. It's not fantastic, but it's a solid 2.5 Frenzies. Something to warm the cockles of your heart and enjoy with the kids.
Which is what summer is all about. So, I completely understand. Never watched the movie. Just
It's pretty good.
Yeah, just never. It was one of those ones that kind of slipped through the cracks that I never really had a desire to watch.
I didn't either. The first time I saw it, I just kind of stumbled upon it and wound up getting sucked in, and wound up watching it again later with the boys as they were growing up. And they picked this one to watch with the neighbors because they've got a couple of younger kids who we have to find something a little more family friendly for.
So you're telling me that after your positive review last week of The Nice Guys, you weren't going to screen that for the kids?
Pretty much.
Misty Mountains?
Pretty much. Maybe with the older kids.
But,
But,
as I promised, last week, inspired by your Uncle Dave, I actually did end up watching The Nice Guys yet again the night after we did the weekend edition last week.
And as we were taping last week's edition, my oldest was watching it.
So Connor did watch it.
Connor did watch it, and he absolutely loved it.
Yes, watching it again. Again, this for me is probably, this is one of those few movies where I will repeat watch over and over and over again. There's only about 10 or 12 that I will literally watch maybe once a year, and this is one of them. So this was the 6th, 7th time, maybe 8th time I've watched it. Still one of the best movies of the last 2 decades. I give it four frenzies. It is, to me,
it's
nearly the
damn
immaculate
good.
buddy crime comedy.
It's got everything.
It is just so good. And if you have not watched The Nice Guys with Ryan Gosling, Russell Crowe, you've got to watch it. Do yourself a favor. Maybe not younger kids in the room.
Right.
But just, Shane Black, he's like Rob Thomas. Let him do his thing. Do not interfere. Let him do his thing.
Just let it go.
And you will be happy with the result. Do not let a guy like Paul do shit interfere and ruin everything. Shane Black does his thing with The Nice Guys.
And it's a beautiful result.
Just like he did with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and the best of the Lethal Weapon movies. He is the master of the buddy crime movie. And The Nice Guys is probably his best.
Oh, completely agree.
Yes. Fantastic.
All right. You have your documentary.
Yeah. I think because you beat me down so much and you kept saying you didn't want to watch Air. And I've been pushing it off and pushing it off. I've been trying to find other things to watch. And so I grew up, I'm a couple years older than you. So I grew up 11, 12, 13 years old in the era of disco. So my first favorite band was Casey and the Sunshine Band. I loved Chic. I loved Donna Summer. HBO Max, now Max, puts out the documentary, Love to Love You, Donna Summer. So I'm intrigued. I want to find out more about her. She was the queen of disco. Gorgeous woman. Oh my God. And her voice, underrated voice. I mean, she had the voice of a goddess. Unfortunately, this documentary plays out like it is a love letter to her family instead of to her.
Oh, no.
I have never seen a more selfish documentary in my life than this. We rarely get a glimpse into how the songs, the big hit songs were made, or what was the reasoning behind them. Meanwhile, we're getting grainy, awful footage. I mean, D-level VHS footage where the tracking is blurring out Donna Summer's face. Stuff that nobody would have ever put into any kind of a respectable documentary.
Oh, God.
We get stories of woe about the kids. Now, again, this is a Hollywood documentary. So, of course, everybody's been abused. Everybody's been abused. Donna Summer was abused by a pastor when she was younger. But then the daughter, one of her daughters, has to start talking about how she was abused by the relative of a housekeeper. Nothing to do with the story of Donna Summer whatsoever. But we got to listen to her talk about how she was. It has nothing to do with her mother. Nothing to do with her mother.
Then why are we talking about it?
Then earlier on in the movie, you want to talk about arrogance. Her sisters basically say Donna wasn't a huge star until we started singing backup for her.
Oh, for the love of God and all that's holy.
That is all this documentary comes off as, is a love letter for these egomaniacal members of her family, her daughters and her sisters, to talk about how great they. At one point, the daughter shows like a minute clip of her singing at Christmas.
Who cares?
It's not about you. It's about your goddamn mother. Your mother was the queen of disco. Your mother was the beautiful, great voice, not you. It's not about you. And they, of course, show her at one point breaking down in front of a computer and crying, talking about her abuse. Again, nothing about her mother.
Oh, come on.
This is the most pathetic attempt at a documentary. They picked an easy subject because people like me have never heard the story of Donna Summer. And they make it all about them. All about them.
That's a travesty.
Again, we
That's
barely
so
hear
bad.
the hit songs. We barely get any kind of an indication as to how they came together, how they were created, how they were made, which is what I want in a documentary about an all-time fantastic recording star.
And they didn't even touch on her great disco movie, Thank God It's Friday.
No, they didn't! No, they didn't! They didn't!
Which gave you the great song, Let's Dance the Last Dance.
They did not. They did not. They did not. I think they showed one short clip from the movie. You're right. They did not talk about TGIF. They did not talk about Thank God It's Friday.
Fantastic.
They did talk a little bit about She Works Hard for the Money. That was the song they seemed to focus on the most. Barely any mention of Bad Girls. Barely any mention of Love to Love You Baby. Except at one point, Arsenio Hall asked her what song do the guys like the most when you're asked. Well, of course they like that because it sounds like, they're having sex with you. I mean, it's just an awful, awful document. This shows you where Max is going. Max is cheaping out so badly. And we've talked about this for a year.
So they dropped Titans. They dropped Doom Patrol to put out this garbage.
They basically shoveled bare minimum money to the family of Donna Summer, is what it looks like, to put together this travesty of a documentary about a woman who deserves a lot better than this. And I'm ashamed because I love Donna Summer. There's nothing about this documentary that makes me dislike her. I want more. So it's a failure. It's an epic failure, and it doesn't tell the story of Donna Summer. I give this, just because I got to listen to her and see her, I'll give it a 1.5 frenzies.
Oof.
A weak 1.5 frenzies. But again, after the Ant-Man shit, I mean, can I get a good movie without having to go back a decade to watch The Nice Guys for the 8th time? Can I get a decent movie?
Please.
So next week,
Who knows?
I'll probably watch Air. I'm not watching Shazam.
Oh, hell no.
Not watching Shazam 2. Oh, and by the way, our buddy, Ezra Miller, now they're saying The Flash is projected to do so well that they're already trying to discuss bringing him in for a sequel.
No, do not bring his stupid ass back in.
So we can't bring
him.
We can't bring Henry Cavill back as Superman, but we can bring Ezra Miller back as the Flash. And by the way, have you seen who plays Superman, quote unquote, in The Flash? Oh, it's a young girl.
Why? That's Supergirl.
I'm just telling you. They're banking on the fact that all the commercials show Michael Keaton. They are banking on that. They think everybody's going to go see it because Michael Keaton is back as Batman. And Affleck is in it too.
But it's stupid ass Ezra Miller still.
Well, you get like at least 2 versions of him.
Oh, God help us.
All right, now we promised a couple weeks ago to review some trailers. Now we've got one coming up in TV and streaming. I have my review of the newest trailer for Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1.
I'm intrigued by this.
I think it looks great. God, I think it looks great.
This,
And I'm even going to say this.
actually makes me want to watch it.
I'm going to give you a spoiler. I loved this trailer, but I think I like the other one better. And I love this one. That'll tell you how much I like the other one coming up in our third segment. But this looks great. Looks great. And hopefully, I know Tom Cruise is a very smart guy. He's going to hold to the promise. He is getting older. He needs to do Dead Reckoning Part 1, Dead Reckoning Part 2.
And walk away.
If he kills off Ethan Hunt, I'm good with it. I'm good with it. I think that they can always, it's not like James Bond. They can resuscitate somebody else as an MI agent, a Mission Impossible agent.
Right.
And start it all over again with a younger person. Because Ethan Hunt was not part of the original Mission Impossible squad.
Right.
So, I think he's smart. I think next year will be the end of Ethan Hunt. But this looks, the train going over the tracks into the lagoon or the lake or whatever it is.
Yeah, it looks pretty epic.
Cannot wait. I have said I will go to the theater for this. I will go to the theater for this. In other movie news, how are you going to feel about this, Dave? They're making a movie. Amazon, MGM, now Amazon is kind of pushing back into the movie theaters. Like Air, we just talked about Air. Air was in the theaters, made $50 million before it came onto Amazon. So this is when they acquired MGM. This is what their plan was.
The theatrical, then the stream.
They are going to do a movie, a biopic, based on the life of one John Madden.
Why?
Well, I haven't even told you who they're looking at to play John Madden.
John Goodman?
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
That would have been good.
You naive young soul. No. Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell.
Oh, come on! No! God!
Will Ferrell is reportedly in negotiations
No!
to star as John Madden for Amazon and MGM.
Give me another cold beer. My temple's about to pop. No.
I thought you would like that.
No,
I thought you would like that.
My God, if you're going to do Madden, you got to make it serious.
Well, obviously, it's not going to be serious.
Obviously, with Will Ferrell, but come on.
We will see. We will see if this actually happens.
Please let it die in production.
Speaking of dying, because it's one of my guilty pleasures, even though it really makes me feel awful when I watch them.
Snuff films?
Pretty close. Pretty close. They have officially announced they are going to make Terrifier 3.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
And they're talking about how it's going to have a much bigger budget than the other ones, which means it's going to be about 8 or 9 million. Keeping in mind that Terrifier 2 was made for less than $1 million. Ended up grossing over 15 million worldwide.
Oof.
Not counting what it got TV and streaming.
Yeah. Oh, my.
They are sick. They are sadistic, but it's a horror movie. What do you expect? Speaking of, well, your judgment, your opinion, you make the call, sick and sadistic. We talked months ago about the, I thought frivolous, and I still think frivolous, $100 million lawsuit filed by the stars of the, almost 50-year-old version of Romeo and Juliet, where
Lord.
they filed a sex abuse suit, saying that it was ridiculous that at their ages, in their teens, that they had nudity. They had topless scenes. Olivia Hussey, I believe, was the female actress.
Was topless, and then the guy playing Romeo showed his butt.
He said, "But I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
no.
This is like the guy.
Come on.
This is like the guy who kept suing Nirvana for the cover of Nevermind because it showed his pee-pee
As
when
a
he was,
baby.
Yeah, and he
that
said
his parents signed off on.
And he said it traumatized him for life.
And after how many years, how much money did he make off of going to all these music festivals and all the different photo shoots with the band over the years? And no.
Yeah.
Crap.
Now see, if it was me, if I'd been in that picture and I'd sued, I would have won. You know why? Because it hasn't grown since then. I still got a baby
Traumatized for life.
I still got a baby pee-pee.
Traumatized for life.
But damn it, I'm still a proud man. We've got our strike news. We've got our strike update. The latest movies and TV shows to be affected by the strike, which I hope goes on forever. I really do. Maybe that'll force people to go back and watch movies like The Nice Guys. You know, I know we're going to be subjected to a reality TV show all over the place. But Marvel again affected. Boy, they are just fucked.
They
screwed. Are fucked. Now the latest is Thunderbolts has been delayed. So again, I'm waiting for the announcement of the delay in the entire
everything
phase
is toast.
That just started with Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yeah, it's all gonna blow up.
And Amazon also announces they had a Blade Runner series in the works. That has been delayed for at least a year.
That's all right. It shouldn't be done anyway.
I like the last Blade Runner movie, though. But again, it had Ryan Gosling in it.
Don't try and make a movie into a series.
Really? You think they're going to listen to that?
Yeah, I know.
Your Uncle Dave. Again, shockingly, considering he reads 397 books a year, has got a book review for you this week. And we've got one next week.
I'm trying one a week, kids. I'm trying to make you all literate. Reading is fundamental.
Riff. Oh my God, riff. That's coming back old school. Back like with the disco era.
Exactly. All right. This week's book, On Harrow Hill, John Verdon's 7th Dave Gurney novel. This is back from 2021. So, retired New York Police Department detective, who they call the greatest detective in the series, whatever. The guy's pretty smart, analytical, always tries to think outside the box. So he's retired in upstate New York on his little farm with his wife, and he's once again drug out of his tranquil little fiefdom by a former partner who still just can't stop self-destructive actions in the town that he's somehow stumbled into becoming the head of the police department. So, up in Larchfield, New York, one of the denizens of their little society, struck by lightning, falls off a church roof, pronounced dead, somehow seems on video to come back to life, escapes the mortuary, and goes on a killing spree.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of despicable characters, a lot of twists and turns as which way is this gonna go? And once again, unfortunately, evil makes its appearance back on the Gurney farm, threatening his wife. So really an intriguing storyline on this one in the different ways that Verdon writes it. This one kept me going. I'll give this one a 3.5, just for the storyline and the plot twists that it had going. Just when you think you know where he's gonna go, boom, something else pops.
3.5. That's pretty impressive.
This was one of the better storylines and different little plot twists and a lot of characters and a lot of angst and animosity in this town where the millionaire who gets offed early on has a hold over everybody and pours money into everything, from making sure the town looks perfect to pouring money into the college that's there. Just complete and utter control.
Sounds a little bit like the first season of Reacher.
Pretty close.
You know?
Pretty close.
3.5. Very impressive.
Yeah, I really liked this one. And so we've got a new Gurney book coming out later this year.
But next week. A mutual book review. Yes, the Maestro finally got done.
The rare
with
mutual.
Yes. What I consider the last true James Bond novel. I am not counting the crap that came out here recently with sorry, I won't go into political details, lifestyle details.
It's a checkbox book.
Right. Now we're going back to last year with A Mind to Kill, which goes back, sets a tale in the time of the Ian Fleming novels, right after The Man with the Golden Gun.
Yep.
So we will have a review of that 2022 book for you.
Yep. Reading through this one makes me, I haven't read the old Ian Fleming.
Right.
This makes me want to go back because there's so much that's alluded to in this book that was missed in the movies.
Yeah.
And so I really want to delve back into the early Ian Fleming Bond books now.
Yeah. And again, full review next week, but I will agree. And I will say that this book was written like it would have been written in the early 60s or late 50s.
Yeah. Horowitz did a brilliant job.
Yep. But full review next week.
Yep. I'm a quarter of the way through right now.
And I'm 3/4 of the way through. I'm ahead of you.
I started it last night.
I started it 3 weeks ago.
I started yesterday afternoon. Yeah, yesterday evening. So
always got to be better than me when it comes to books, don't you?
It's one of those things.
So next week, James Bond for you kids. But we are not done yet here on the weekend edition. Lots to talk about in TV and streaming. Couple of moments of silence, and we are going to play America's favorite game show, Dumbass or Not.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this brief promo.
When the mindless zombies at the major sports networks won't leave you alone. When the forces of evil on local sports radio have you cornered. Load up the boomstick known as Sports Frenzy 2.0. Available on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, and Castbox. Kev Dave will drive the dull and boring voices in your head away and offer you the sports salvation you need. New episodes drop every Thursday. And don't forget the weekend edition every Saturday, where the Maestro and the Conquistador might just review your favorite horror flick. Sports Frenzy 2.0. It's groovy. All right, third and final segment here. We're going to leave you to your own devices for the rest of the weekend. Hopefully, those devices will include, even though we haven't recommended much in the way of positive stuff, I think Dave's book review was probably the most positive of anything
Yeah, pick up a book. You're going to get a good story out
Outside
of
of
it.
The Nice Guys, which of course it's 2 weeks running now with us recommending that.
So that tells you how good it is.
So we move on to TV and streaming. The new series on Netflix starring Arnold Schwarzenegger.
FUBAR.
I got through most of the first episode, and I am telling you, it is painful. It's painful.
Bad.
You watched 2, you said.
I watched 2. I was hopeful. Maybe. Yeah. No, it's just bad acting. Total cliche. It's yeah, it makes the original movie True Lies look brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, again, I watched, I got about 40 minutes into it, the first episode, and I was just like, oh my God, what am I doing again? Another negative, another waste of my time. Schwarzenegger, I'm sorry, he's lost it. What little acting ability he had is gone. He's been smoking too many cigars because his lips are all shriveled and look like liver, rotten liver, and he's got this awful old man beard going now.
Yeah,
but he's got the dyed hair, and
he would have been better off not having the beard.
Yeah,
just shave the beard, Arnold.
And then, of course, they got to have the checkbox crew behind him.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to check a box. The only thing, I mean, his daughter has some redeeming qualities, and that's about it.
Yeah, but it's
not worth it.
It's not worth it. I'm done. I don't even care.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that.
I went through 2 full, and I cannot finish the last 6. It's just no.
From what I saw, that's where I was going to.
It doesn't get any better.
And I can't waste my life anymore.
No.
I got more years behind me than ahead of me, and I cannot waste my life on stuff like this.
Yeah, no, it's pass on FUBAR.
My weekly review of the latest Beavis and Butthead, unfortunately, isn't much better. This past week's episode, the title of the first of 2 segments is good. The Day Butthead Went Too Far. The episode itself, unfortunately, is falls just flat. Okay. And then the second one is Spring Break. A little bit better, but still. This season has been hit and miss. There have been some really unbelievably funny episodes and some like this that just kind of are okay. They're worth watching. It's Beavis and Butthead, but
there you go.
Yep.
All right. Question: how close are you on Gotham Knights?
I haven't. Now I might have more time to start watching it. I think I'm still on episode 4.
Okay,
right now.
I'm through 7 or 8.
Okay, so I'll make it a point to try to catch up because I still like it. It's just
I'm not disappointed with it.
Last time I checked, the CW is still up in the air about whether they're going to review it or not. They have not said no. They have not said yes. But now there's an opening because The Flash finally officially ended here over the past week or so.
It was still on?
Well, yeah, because you and I gave up on it years ago because it got too PC and too boring.
Yeah, and I think you watched it even a year and a half longer than I did.
Yeah, I did. I stuck with it longer. One of the other shows we've been talking about watching, Amazon Citadel, has already been renewed for season 2. So at least we know.
Maybe we need to actually get on that one.
Now at least we know that we're not wasting our time.
Yeah, it's not going to be a one-off. We're not going to have a left or right moment.
Right. One that I will definitely be watching, and I need to catch up on. I mentioned that Netflix had already greenlighted and was filming season 6 of Black Mirror. Black Mirror will now officially debut season 6 on June the 15th. I always liked the anthology stuff. I like Twilight Zone. I like Night Gallery. And that's what Black Mirror is, except with a more modern technological twist. I think I saw Salma Hayek is going to be in season 6.
Woohoo!
But they're all standalones.
That's a good thing, though.
So if one sucks, that doesn't mean the next one's going to suck.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the opposite applies as well. If
True.
one's great,
then the next one's probably going to be bad. So, June 16th, Extraction 2.
Yep, we're starting to see more and more in terms of advertisements for Extraction. You know we will be on top of that. That will be a first week review.
Absolutely.
Another one in terms of series that we will be on first week, reviewing each and every week, will be Justified, City Primeval. This is the other trailer that I alluded to that we promised we were going to review 2 weeks ago. Finally, it is here. We're going to review it. And it looks unbelievable.
It's dirty and gritty.
Takes place in Detroit. Originally based on an Elmore Leonard book that did not have Raylan Givens in it, which I find fascinating. Yeah. The original City Primeval novel does not feature Raylan Givens.
No.
So the producers have worked an Elmore Leonard story in to the Elmore Leonard Raylan Givens universe. And again, no spoilers because it's in the trailer.
Yeah. But wow.
His daughter is hooking up with what could be the most evil, nasty, heinous bad guy Raylan has ever faced. And then meanwhile, Raylan looks like he's shagging the lawyer for this guy.
Scumbag.
Yeah.
Just, it looks
Timothy Oliphant
really damn
was
good.
Made for this role.
Yeah.
This is his role.
He is.
It's like
Raylan
Don Johnson
Givens.
is Sonny Crockett. Timothy Oliphant is Raylan Givens. And you know, there is no equivocation.
No.
It is true 100%. Cannot wait for City Primeval.
What is the date on that one?
Oh, we talked about that a couple weeks ago. I think it's coming up in mid-July.
Yeah.
I think it's coming up in mid-July, so about 6-7 weeks away.
Yeah, still too long.
Yep. Because I think right around that time we were discussing that's a week before is when new season of What We Do in the Shadows debuts on FX as well.
Yes, the vampires will be back.
Yep. Still waiting on the trailer for that.
Yeah. So when we were watching Shadows, we also stumbled upon that Wellington Paranormal.
Yeah, I tried that.
I got through the first season. We watched season 2. It's been out for quite a while. We watched the first 2, and it's the same old.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got out of it too.
And it just didn't do anything extra, so we bailed on that one.
Yeah, and the characters aren't as entertaining or engaging.
No, and there's no growth or development.
No, I agree with you. I think I got through 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah, we made it through the first season. Some of them were more entertaining than others, but season 2 is just the same old stuff. There was no growth or anything through it. Just kind of Yeah. You would hope character development would be there to keep driving it, but it wasn't there.
No, I agree. That's kind of why I bailed on it.
So we'll put that puppy to bed. Avoid Wellington Paranormal.
Of course, Memorial Day weekend is becoming synonymous with wrestling. So I have my quick recap of WWE Night of Champions, even though it came out at 1 in the afternoon on Saturday because it was at night in Saudi Arabia. Blood money, blood money.
Exactly. Bloodline. I read stuff about this.
The bloodline is looking like it is disintegrated. as the Usos power kicked the tribal chief Roman Reigns, interfered in the match, accidentally power kicked Solo Sikoa, their brother. Roman Reigns says, "What are you doing in my ring? Get out of my ring. I didn't ask for this. Look what you've done."
You've destroyed everything.
And of course, they decide to come back with the power kick on the tribal chief. So now, as we get ready to celebrate 1,000 days in the reign of Roman Reigns, what does the future of the bloodline hold?
Bum, bum, bum.
Now, there were some shockers at Night of Champions. I was surprised that they had Asuka beat Bianca Belair. I thought Bianca Belair would be Women's Raw champion forever because everybody loves her. She fits the mold of what they want. Let's put it that way.
There you go.
Am I her biggest fan? No. But I get it. I get it. Asuka is kind of an oddball, but she's been champion before. She comes over from Japan, of course, with the makeup, and she spits the blue mist. And
isn't this kind of a reinvention of herself?
she reinvents herself every year, it seems
Oh,
like.
then
Yeah.
why bother?
But she beat Bianca Belair. I did not see that coming. So Asuka is the new Raw Women's Champion.
Is that one of the last-minute audibles that Vince McMahon threw in?
I don't know, but I know he is now exerting his influence.
Yes, much to the dismay and dislike of the wrestlers.
Also, Trish Stratus, her and her big fake boobs, somehow figured out a way to cheat and beat Becky Lynch. And tied into that was Brock Lesnar beating Cody Rhodes, who, of course, he had broken his arm, quote unquote, broken his arm a week earlier. Now, why do I say this? Is because it's interesting. I always find this in a soap opera dynamic interesting.
How they can use the cast but not use the cast.
Well, no, they finally, oh my God, Cody Rhodes has figured out he can use the cast as a weapon. Well, no shit. No shit, Sherlock. No, I find it in a world of egos, in a world of me, it's all about me, that Becky Lynch and Cody Rhodes are willing on a major pay-per-view, premium live event, whatever you want to call it, are willing to humiliate themselves, get beaten. You know, a lot of other people would be like, no, I don't lose. I'm the champ. Or I'm the big star.
Guess
They're
what?
willing to take a bullet for the team. I'll give Cody Rhodes a lot of credit. He gets beat so much, despite the fact we all know at some point he's going to be world champion.
It's inevitable.
Yeah. And Sunday night was NXT Battleground. And Tiffany Stratton and her big fake boobs won the women's title, which was previously held just a few short months ago by Mandy Rose and her big boobs, her big fake boobs, which are now all over, what, OnlyFans or whatever the hell platform she's selling them for. Pictures of them. All right. We're going to go back in time, kids. A previous segment that we had in cable access years. Frenzy 5-0.
Wow.
Our crime blotter for the world of sports and, in this case, pop culture.
Thanks, Mr. Peabody.
I'm surprised he didn't blame Kelso. That would be one. Danny Masterson, who has been, yes, inevitably, finally found guilty in 2 counts of rape. He is in custody as a flight risk. He is facing, I believe, up to 30 years in jail. What, mistrial the last time?
Yeah,
is why it's taking so
mistrial.
long.
Yeah, and then they finally brought it back, and
no more circles for this guy.
Nope. You almost knew it was coming. It was just a question of when.
But on the flip side, I guess it pays to be a cannibal because Armie Hammer will not be charged with sexual assault for all of his misdeeds and all the accusations he has had flying his way. So he can go back to selling condos in Jamaica, whatever the hell he was doing.
Yeah. Gee, I guess the baking soda money came through.
All right, it is time to move on to our moments of silence.
It's all about the family money and influence, isn't it?
Of course it is. In Hollywood? Are you kidding me?
The young upstart versus the moneyed family. There you go.
This is why we're subjected to the crap in music and TV and movies, is because they just do the whole nepotism thing. Just pass it on down to the kids, even if they don't have the talent, even if there's other people out there who are more better, skilled, but because they're outsiders, they don't get the chance. All right, couple of TV stars, old school TV stars. I know Dave's got one as well. Ed Ames, who played Mingo in the Daniel Boone Show, passed away, as well as George Maharis, original star of Route 66 with, I believe, Martin Milner, who went on to Adam 12 fame.
Yep. And then from one of my favorite shows out of the 70s, Michael Norrell, who played Captain Hank in the show Emergency.
The companion piece to Adam 12.
The companion piece to Adam 12, yes. Yep. Passed away. So thoughts and prayers to all their family and friends.
Yeah, I mean, that's us showing our age, but the old school TV shows like that, Daniel Boone and Emergency and Route 66, awesome stuff from when we were kids.
All right.
It is time for America's favorite game show. Red Foreman's Dumbasses of the Week. Dumbasses or not. And of course, every week we play this. Your favorite contestant, my favorite contestant, America's favorite contestant is your Uncle Dave Height.
All right. Who are our candidates for this week?
Let's start off with something that ties into the sports edition from earlier this week. In the sports edition, we talked about Clayton Kershaw and the Los Angeles Dodgers. And we talked about how, Clayton Kershaw was standing up for his faith, and he was a badass for forcing the Dodgers to revive Christian Faith and Family Day in response to the idiocy involving the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Basically, while you were doing the positive and calling out Clayton Kershaw for him being the badass, I called out the Dodgers for being dumbasses for obviously trying to make good because we pissed off the LGBTQ community. Well, we know all about Bud Light and the Anheuser-Busch debacle with Dylan Mulvaney. So while I was watching sports this weekend, I happened to see a new commercial for Budweiser.
Oh, God.
Don't forget to pick up your limited edition Budweiser Harley Davidson cans now. And I'm like,
God.
Could you be any more obvious in trying to win back everybody you pissed off with the trans activist?
Just stop. Complete dumbass move. Just don't.
And I'm serious.
Don't.
That was literally the commercial.
Don't.
They show the big hairy hand slamming the can down. Don't forget to pick up your Harley Davidson collector's cans from Budweiser. Limited edition.
So bad.
Jesus God. Why didn't you
Just
put out a can
stop.
with a testicle, a pair of testicles, and a penis on it? Manly can. It's the manly can.
So bad.
Oh, but it gets worse. The Internet Movie Database. And I'll admit, I've gone to them in the past. They usually have a pretty good, algorithm to computate all the reviews from the fans and from the critics to give you a fairly decent review, an idea of if a movie or a TV show is good or bad.
Right.
They blatantly admitted over the weekend, that they have been changing the voting system, changing their algorithm over the weekend because they didn't like the fact that The Little Mermaid was getting so many negative reviews.
You cannot change anything to meet your narrative. That's the problem with statistics. You can make the numbers, the same numbers, say 12 different things.
But I find it interesting. They are basically admitting what we've always suspected, that they will not let you post negative reviews. And if there's too many negative reviews, they're going to figure out a way to fix it. And I don't care if it's them. I don't care if it's Amazon, whoever it might be.
It's all crap.
Blatantly admitting they're changing their system because we don't like the fact that all these people hate The Little Mermaid.
Gee,
the new
how
version.
about it was a bad movie? Did you ever think that was possible?
Oh, and of course, everybody overseas now is racist because they've been calling out all the overseas markets because it's not selling at all overseas.
How about nobody cares? Quit remaking everything.
And now they're saying, of course, we don't know if it's going to make, break even. We don't know if it's going to make money. Well, guess what? What do we always say? You go woke, you go broke. Oh, but we're not done with woke yet. God, if it wasn't for woke idiots, we wouldn't have dumbasses.
Oh, we would, just in a different way.
This is a two-parter, by the way. Two-parter. Number one, now we have got college professors calling out Beatrix Potter's Peter Rabbit, saying that you have to look close enough, because, of course, they're intellectual.
They're
you have
idiots.
to look close enough into Peter Rabbit to see it's basically a ripoff of Brer Rabbit, therefore it is rooted in slavery.
What the hell are they talking about?
So now Peter Rabbit, the wonderful, beautifully illustrated Beatrix Potter novels, books, are now rooted in slavery because they are ripoffs of Brer Rabbit. But my tie into this with Brer Rabbit is this week, May the 30th. Disneyland finally closed Splash Mountain because of the racist connotations of Brer Rabbit and the Song of the South characters that populated the popular ride Splash Mountain. So, double dumbass?
Double dumbass. But wait. All right. Hang on. I'm doing some research
I have
here.
upset Dave on this Beatrix Potter thing. I know I have. While you're looking, I got to move on to Whoopi Goldberg.
You do, because that whole...
Whoopi Goldberg is off her rocker, and we actually defended her last year when she defended Blazing Saddles from cancel culture. We said, hey, we admire that. We admire her taking a stance. But now she's lost her freaking mind. Number one. Another two-parter, by the way, kids. Number one, she claims that the show American Idol led to the downfall of society. Now, am I an American Idol fan? No. Do I like the competition shows, the reality shows? No. But am I going to say that American Idol? I would say The View has led more to the downfall of society than American Idol.
Absolutely. Those heinous, racist, egotistical, one-sided, manipulative bitches on The View have no business spewing their hatred.
I find that unbelievable. Because she says, that's the first time when we started judging each other.
Oh, bullshit.
She's such an idiot. I can't believe we had to stick up for her. But that shows you that we can be impartial and unbiased here on Sports Frenzy. But she wasn't done. She wasn't done yet. She also said, because Target is the latest retailer / business that people are protesting because they have these massive displays up in their stores for Pride Month and all this rainbow merchandise and material and the LGBTQ stuff. And because Target has basically toned that stuff down due to customer complaints,
right?
She claims that Target caved to snowflakes. So the people who actually stood up for themselves and said, we don't like this shit, nobody buys this shit, it's 1% of the population, and it should not take up 10% of the store. The people that stood up are the snowflakes.
Yeah, the ones who aren't crying in their milk, hiding in their little safe spaces.
Well, like I said, off mic, when we talked about this, I did not bring it up during the Donna Summer review back in our movie segment, but there was a section in there talking about how she found God again. And they claimed that when she did, she said, God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. And of course, that pissed off the people who claim to have made her, the gay disco people. The gay disco people got mad, and then she was also doing a lot of artwork on the side. Very proud of her artwork. And she had an exhibition. The LGBTQ community was threatening to rampage the gallery and destroy all her artwork. That's how they respond.
Terrorists.
Yes. Finally, if double dose of Whoopi Goldberg wasn't enough, a double dose of Brer Rabbit, racism wasn't enough, let's wrap it all up with this. This could be a borderline one. I just, again, I'm tired of them remaking everything and redoing everything. Prime Video Australia is going to produce a yet another remake, revamp version of The Office.
Oh,
and of course,
come on.
we have to have a female lead because we've already had Ricky Gervais and Steve Carell. So now it's time we've got to have a woman in charge. How about we just don't do any more remakes of The Office?
How about we come up with a new original idea?
Which seems to be our mantra each and every week, but nobody listens. Shame on them.
We're tired of the rehash.
Shame on them. Shame on them for not listening to the two most brilliant voices in the world of podcasting. But that's it for us in the weekend edition. He's Dave.
He's Kev.
Please enjoy our rendition of Happy Trails. And please check out the weekend edition next week, as well as the sports edition next Thursday. Take care, kids.
Bum-ba-dee-da, bum-ba-dee-da, bum-ba-dee-da. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then.
about the clouds when we're together. Just sing a song and think about sunny weather. Happy trails to you until we meet